Take a picture of this right now.
What? What?
With the logo facing out.
What?
Take a picture. What are you waiting for,
No,
my
what? They're not gonna. You're
I'm
not gonna be able
getting
to
tired.
See, you're not
Take a
gonna be
picture
able to
right
see-
now.
You're not gonna be able to see it in the picture. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Average Joe Football Show. I'm your host, Joe Fair. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Habsula's favorite football podcast. That's right. I'm joined by my
man.
illustrious producer, Joe Teason. How's it going, Joe?
Fantastic. Wonderful.
Very good.
Very good.
Habsula.
It's Absula.
Habsula.
Last name being
Just Habsula.
Nurmagomedov.
It's like Cher or Oprah.
David Bowie.
What?
Prince, actually.
Prince, yeah. David
MJ.
Bowie, literally. MJ was Michael Jackson.
Bono.
Bono, yeah, Bono. John. What is Bono's name?
Bon Jovi, maybe?
Is John Bon Jovi and Bono the same guy?
I think so.
I actually don't know.
I think it's John Bono Bon Jovi.
John Bono Jovi.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It might be.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna lie. We were trying to figure out what we were going to talk about at the top of the podcast, and we don't know, to be honest with you. So this is going to be an adventure. We don't go outside, so we don't really have much to talk about.
Yeah.
Everything that there is to talk about just will make us sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
And plus it's the winter.
Yep.
And I think I have seasonal something that
depression?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like during the winter I just get really sad and I just like I don't have much to talk about.
Yeah. And that's
so until the winter's over I kind of just
That's maybe why you've noticed that the podcast quality, especially on Joe's end, has gone down.
It's what it's like living in Canada, man.
Tremendously.
Everybody has seasonal depression.
Yeah.
Like, Christmas comes around. Well, Christmas is nice, but I mean the winter,
Yeah.
it's always kind of dark outside.
It just,
Unless it's those days where it's really sunny. Those are nice days in the winter,
Yeah.
but I mean like most days are kind of dark.
the worst days are when it's cold, but it's not cold enough for the snow to stay, so it's slushy, and then it's just everything's brown and bad.
Yeah.
I hate those days. That's enough to make somebody
And then you
depressed.
come home in your 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah. Not me, but you, yeah.
Yeah, is like super dark and you have lamps and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's still just so dark.
Yeah, my house is so
Um,
dark as well.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, why isn't my house brighter? It looks like
Yeah.
everything is so sad in here all the time.
Yeah, it's like, why can't I escape this darkness? You know? It's
Yeah,
just-
let me out. Let me out of this darkness.
It chases me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm hearing things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, things that I used to love don't give me the same joy that they used to. I'm numb to it all.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's just basic funny things like
things that
that.
everybody thinks.
Yeah, quirky things like that.
Yeah.
Super Bowl episode today. Honestly,
What?
Yeah, Super Bowl extravaganza.
So Super Bowl is not till this Sunday though.
Yeah, but we're not gonna have an episode until this Sunday.
True.
Yeah, so it's the Super Bowl extravaganza episode.
Wow.
That's right, extravaganza.
So we're talking about Super Bowl history,
no, well, maybe
or just this specific Super Bowl game.
just this specific Super Bowl game. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Who knows what me and Mike will get into. You won't be talking about much Super Bowl related. Not going to lie about it. I do, however, maybe have something I want to drop on you before we get into the real
it.
football stuff.
Drop it like it's hot.
Well, I think we're going to have to bring back an old segment.
What?
That's right. An old segment called, say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, What Does Joe know?
Is it bad that I joined in on that?
No, that was good. I loved it, man.
Thanks,
that was
man.
really good. Are you excited?
I am excited.
Very good.
I look forward to these.
I want you to know something before we get into this. I was going to
This
do...
is impromptu, and you did not plan anything.
That's exactly what's going on.
Nice.
I was going to do one of these, and I only just remembered now that I was going to do one of these. So I was going to try to make it Super Bowl related. So we're going to see. It'll be off the cuff. We'll see what we can do here. See if we
Nice.
can,
But you're so like smart.
make
so,
something happen.
So
You know?
yeah,
So-
for you it'll be easy.
For those of you that don't know, on the Average Joe Football Show, What Does Joe Know is a game The rhyming's done. I'm not gonna do any
you
more after
can't.
that. That was a
No.
lot in a row.
Yeah. And it was like the same word, I think, 3 times.
Yeah, it was Joe mostly. And this is a show where we talk football. We like to start every episode not talking football, just kind of shooting the breeze. But like we said, we ran out of stuff to talk about, so we're gonna do a little game. I'm the football sort of connoisseur. I'm sort of an expert. I know it all, and I can. I'm not wrong very often in that
and I'm
sense.
kind of like the sommelier of like movies. Yeah, I like
sort of.
I like movies and TV, cultural things.
Yeah,
I guess craft beers.
More so, the point
good
is that,
wines.
Yeah, is that you don't know anything about football.
Pretty much.
Almost nothing about football. Although you're getting better.
Yeah.
You have really impressed me the last.
I'm in this echo chamber where I always just hear the same names all over, like over and over again. So I just know the names and teams and whatnot.
And that's really good. And that's really good. It's because it shows that you're learning.
Yeah.
Something very important, which is football. But this is a game that we play where we ask Joe a question that's football related. The catch is it has to be a question that I could very easily answer. So I'm not going to ask who was the MVP of, the Super Bowl in 1974.
Joe Montana.
No, not 1974. No. He won Super Bowls in the 80s. So, but see, I wouldn't have been able to answer
Joe
that.
Madden.
Not Joe Madden. Joe Madden's actually a baseball
Mike
coach.
Ditka.
Mike Ditka is a football player. Don't think he was a Super Bowl MVP.
Dick
Buttkiss. Just kiss. Dick
okay.
Buttkiss. Okay, so that's the rules. I give Joe a question. The question is, it's multiple choice. There's always one wrong answer and around, 4 or 5 or whatever, 3 right answers.
The odds are ever in my favor.
The odds are really, really in your favor. So today's question, really, really simple. Really simple. I have 5 names that I have yet to come up with until right now. 5 names, and these are 5 players in the NFL. These are 5 NFL players.
Okay.
4 of these players are playing in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
This weekend.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not gonna make it difficult for you. I could throw a couple names out there like Trey Hendrickson. You would never.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even have a chance.
He's definitely playing this weekend.
He is playing this weekend. Very good. So you maybe would have got it.
Because he's from the Rams.
No, he's from the Bengals.
There was a 50-50.
Yeah.
I literally had a 50-50 chance there, and I still blew it. That's my luck. I never win. I'm not a winner.
You're not a winner. Well, we're going to hope things change here. So we have 5 names, and I might even just pause for just a second. Just to see if I can quickly. I'm not doing as well at improving as I thought I was going to be. So let's just take like a 2-second break. Maybe we'll get the elevator music in here. There's a 2-second break, and I'll be back with the names. And we're back. All right, I got my 5 names. I have 5 names. 4 of these players are 100% playing in this Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'm not gonna try to trick you. I'm not gonna be like, oh, throw Robert Woods in there, and he's technically on the team, but he's not playing because he's injured. None of that. No tricks. No trickster. Stuff going on here. 5 names, 4 of which are playing this Sunday.
4 of them.
4 of them. 1 of them is not. Here are the names. You ready for the names?
1 of them.
Are you ready for the names?
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to start off. This is so easy. This is basic. And I always basically give you 1.
Okay.
So, okay. And now you already know. Okay. But, okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going to start at the other side of the list now.
Okay. Jeez.
Jamar Chase. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Cooper Kupp. Joe Mixon. Or Joe Burrow.
Oh.
So, first read through. How are you feeling?
Oh boy. See,
you want me?
I was really paying attention to the 49ers game.
Yeah.
And when the 49ers played the Bengals, the Rams rather, and the Bengals played the Chiefs, So I think I'm going to get the Chiefs and the 49ers players really mixed in here.
Oh, yeah. And that's the worry. That is the worry. So you want me? I'm going to read through it again.
I got the names.
You got the name? Okay,
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Mixon. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Stafford.
No, I didn't.
You didn't say that, but
no.
he is definitely the quarterback of the Rams.
Oh.
And
okay, I can go ahead and read through them if you want. I'll read through them. I'll just read through them.
Clay Claypool.
Claypool.
Cooper Kupp, you said.
Cooper Kupp, I did say.
And the other one, last one.
Jamar Chase.
He does not play right there.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm going to read through it just for the audience. This is for the audience, okay? And maybe if you want to listen, you can listen. The 5 names are Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, Cooper Kupp, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Jamar Chase. 4 of these players, Joe, are playing in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 56 this weekend. One of them is not. They're not even at the game. Well, I can't guarantee that they might be at the game, but they're not participating in the game in any facet.
It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he plays for the 49ers.
Ooh, is that your final answer?
I can tell by the way that you said that that's not correct.
Is that no? Listen, is that
that's my final answer?
I'll give you a chance to change if you want to change your answer.
Well,
do you want to change your answer? Do you want to phone a friend?
Can I phone a friend?
Yes, but it has to be Rudy.
It has to be Rudy?
Yeah.
It can't be Joel?
No, it can't be Joel. Because Joel knows stuff about football.
Okay.
So
I'm going to phone a friend.
Are you going to phone Rudy?
Yeah.
Okay, so those of you that don't know, Rudy's been on this podcast one time before. He doesn't know anything about football. But Joe's going to phone him up right now to ask him what his opinion is on this. He's not going to pick up. Rudy never picks up his phone.
But we might get lucky this time.
You like it?
Oh my goodness.
What?
All right. It seems like you're busy right now, so I'll actually let you go. Sorry.
No, dude, go ahead.
All right. You're live on the podcast.
No way. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So listen, there's 5 players here that Joe just gave me, and one of them is not playing in the Super Bowl this Sunday, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta tell me which one it is, okay? There's 5 of them. There's Joe Mixon,
Yep.
Joe Burrow,
Good.
Jamar Chase, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and
Cooper Kupp.
And Cooper Kupp. Which one is not playing?
What about Lemon? That's Jamar Chase.
All right, thanks, man.
Was that right?
We'll see. I'll call you later.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, bye-bye.
I do want to say that he said Jamar Chase as well. His name is Jamar.
That's my final answer, Jamar Chase.
Your final answer is Jamar Chase, so
Yeah.
you're going with Rudy's answer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. This is really, really good. Okay, so you are absolutely, unquestionably incorrect.
And my first
The correct answer, believe it or not, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay, I knew it. I freaking knew it, man. And he plays for the 49ers,
he plays
doesn't he?
for the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's what I thought, too.
Unbelievable, Rudy.
Okay.
Oh, man. How does that
is
feel?
so sad.
Does that sting a little bit?
Yeah, it stings. Because
Yeah.
I knew. And I
Yeah.
knew, too. And I was pretty sure, but just your initial reaction made me second guess
Yeah.
it so much.
You should have gone with your gut feeling, man.
And I knew it, too. Because
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I was certain he was wearing white and red.
Yeah,
So I'm
well,
pretty sure.
you were not wrong. But
Shoot, man.
you said he was playing for the 49ers. So I'm so sorry. You've lost the podcast this week.
Darn.
And when Joe loses, we all lose, honestly.
Well, I lose all the time, actually.
Yeah,
So
well.
I never win, really,
Yeah.
in anything.
You're sort of a loser
Yeah, I'm a
on the-
loser at work, at home, you know, kind of all the time.
Anyways, before Joe bums us all out, Joe, unless you got anything else you want to say before we kick your losing butt off this podcast and bring on a real winner. No? Nothing else to say?
That hurt a lot. Wow, that hurt.
Sorry, dude.
No, it's good. Let's bring Mike, that guy, whatever.
All right,
bring
let's
him
talk
on.
some Super Bowl. And we're back. And we've made it to the final showdown of the 2021-2022 NFL season. This is why all the games are played. Super Bowl 56 happening this Sunday. And today we got ourselves a Super Bowl extravaganza on the episode today, talking almost only exclusively about the Super Bowl. We'll talk a little bit about news that happened this week, but we're going to dive deep into the Bengals versus the Rams and Super Bowl 56 at SoFi Stadium. And if I'm going to break down the Super Bowl, there's nobody I'd rather have on to break down the Super Bowl than none other than Mike, as he's dabbing on Skype. How's it going, Mike?
Oh, it's going great, dude. I'm so hyped to be here, Joe. Got my wife and daughter in the room, so if you guys heard any talking, that was my child. But no, she's just as excited as I am.
Of course,
it's fun. Like you said, this is why they play football. They get to this point, to the Super Bowl, the big game. But I will say, Joe, it's a bit bittersweet. You know, we're so pumped for Sunday to watch the big game. I can't wait. But after Sunday, we gotta wait like 6 plus months for football again. So it's exciting, but at the same time, it's a sad feeling.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Super Bowl is you wait for the Super Bowl all year, and the Super Bowl is so fun. Like, I love the whole like spectacle of the Super Bowl. Like, it's not just a game. Like, I love the whole week leading up to the Super Bowl, the media day. It's like, oh, so fun. Like, the city that it's in, like, just embracing it, so fun. But then, like, around the fourth quarter, like, you're getting like halfway done, and all of a sudden it's starting to kick in. It's like, oh my goodness, we're not going to have Super Bowl. I mean, we're not going to have football until September. Like, it starts to sink in, and by the time the confetti's falling, it's like, oh my goodness, it's over. And unless your team wins, it's kind of a sad feeling. And so for me, it's mostly always a sad feeling. For you, it's almost never a sad feeling as a Patriots fan. But no Patriots in the Super Bowl this year.
No, that's true, Joe. I will say, though, even though I've watched plenty of Patriots Super Bowls where they win and lose, it's still a sad feeling because you have to wait 6 months to see them play again. But the offseason can get quite fun with the draft, free agency, just a build-up leading to it. Just, it gets you hyped. So, I mean, hopefully it goes by quickly to where we can get back to talking football. But no, Joe, I'm in. Can't wait to talk Super Bowl. Can't wait to talk matchups. Can't wait to talk everything. I'm just hyped. This is going to be a good episode.
Absolutely. So before we jump into the Super Bowl, we got 2 quick news notes, just news from around the league that I want to talk about. We got a couple more head coaching hires, and then we have a potential star quarterback, maybe disgruntled, maybe, wanting out of a team, some questionable things going on with one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. We'll get into that. But first, before we get into that, I do want to talk about the head coaching vacancies. They've all been filled at this point. As Mike says goodnight to his daughter. Oh, bedtime. It's the worst.
It's the worst.
It's the worst. It's the worst. But not the worst is that the head coaching vacancies are finally all filled. All 9 jobs filled. And since we last talked, there was 4 or more vacancies filled. We had the Jacksonville Jaguars hiring former Eagles Super Bowl winning coach Doug Peterson. And then we had the Miami Dolphins hiring 49ers offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel, first-time head coach. And then Houston signing former Bears and Buccaneers head coach Lovie Smith, which was a bizarre turn of events. And then also the New Orleans Saints signing or retaining their defensive coordinator Dennis Allen as their new head coach, with Sean Payton obviously stepping down just a couple weeks ago. So now we have all of the head coaching hires filled up. Mike, do you have any thoughts on and if you don't, that's fine too. I know we're not head coaching experts. We don't know, and none of us are. We don't really know how these head coaching hires will go. We can get excited and all that, but in the end, we'll just know when we know, and that's when the games get played in, a couple of years of these guys' careers. But do you have any thoughts on these 4 that were hired this week, or any thoughts at all on the overall head coaching hiring process?
I think that Doug Peterson to the Jaguars, I think that's a good fit. I believe he was there when they drafted Carson Wentz, and I think he was there when they drafted Carson Wentz, no?
I believe so. Yes, I'm pretty sure he was. the head
And
coach then.
Carson Wentz was a stud until he tore his ACL. So I think that him, Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence, James Robinson, I think he can, maybe help try to turn the ship around. Not saying they're going to the playoffs next year. Not saying they're going to have a great record, but I do believe that he is a better fit than Urban Meyer was. I know he roasted.
I think anybody
roasted Urban Meyer this year, Joe. So I think that's going to be a really good fit. And Mike McDaniel, I've seen a lot of clips. He seems to be very fired up. Just a positive guy. I guess we'll have to see how that one plays out because I do believe Brian Flores was a great coach in Miami.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe they found their next great coach that they're going to let coach the team for 2 years, have winning seasons, and then release. We never know. And Lovie Smith. I don't know how I feel about that one. He hasn't had really much, if any, success in the NFL as a head coach. And if you're the Houston Texans, you've been a struggling franchise for the past few seasons. I don't know if that's the place to go get a coach. I know there wasn't a whole lot of names out there left. I will say I'm not sure. I didn't do much research into it. I don't know if Eric Bieniemy was out interviewing. I think he had like an 8-hour interview with the team.
With the Saints, I believe.
With the Saints, that's right. So I was a bit surprised he didn't get hired.
Yep.
But other than that, not a whole lot that I have to say about the rest of the coaching hires. What about you, Joe?
No, those are good takes. Those are really good takes. I agree with the Doug Peterson hire. I like that hire. I think they just needed stability in Jacksonville after what was like just an absolute disaster of a year with Urban Meyer. They just need somebody to come in there, somebody with experience. Like the guy's won a Super Bowl in Doug Peterson. So I know there was some drama with him and Carson Wentz there at the end, but I think he's going to be happier to coach Trevor Lawrence, who I think is still an incredible talent at the quarterback position. So I really did like that hiring. He was a guy that I wouldn't have minded for the Dolphins. And then the Lovie Smith hiring, that is one of the most confusing things ever because it really seemed like the Houston Texans, they wanted to bring in Josh McCown. That was the guy they wanted to bring in, which is so weird. I don't know why Jack Easterby and the Houston Texans are completely obsessed with Josh McCown, a guy that's never coached at all in the NFL. He's never coached in the NFL. They wanted to bring him in. I think they got scared of the pushback that they would get. So I think at the last second they went and hired Lovie Smith, and they didn't want to bring in Brian Flores because of the whole lawsuit thing. But my thing is, if you were going to hire Lovie Smith, who was already the defensive coordinator there in Houston last year, why did you fire David Culley? Like, what was the point of firing David Culley? To me, that was the most frustrating part of this whole thing. Is like, I think David Culley deserved another shot. I think he did a heck of a job with the Houston Texans last year. Like, they were a terrible roster, and they played hard for him every week. Like, I think David Culley got like shafted this last year.
I guess you could compare that kind of to Rich Bisaccia, a guy who turned the team around. I know Texans didn't go to the playoffs, but they played hard, and I thought they were going to go 0-17 this season. I think they won 5 games and put up some fights there down the stretch. So you could compare those two, if you will.
Yeah, it's very similar to what Brian Flores did in his first year in Miami, where they were a team that was supposed to lose every game, and even with Stephen Ross, throwing a little extra apparently behind the scenes, he still led them to 5 wins when they were a team that had like a CFL roster, and it was very much the same with the Houston Texans. So I think David Culley deserved another shot. But as far as my team, they hire Mike McDaniel. I'm really excited for Mike McDaniel. He was the guy I wanted all along. Other than Jim Harbaugh, I made it clear on the podcast, Jim Harbaugh was my number one guy. But it seemed like he was not going to come to a place where, there was some controversy around the Dolphins, and then, there was the weird stuff that happened with the Minnesota Vikings. But other than Jim Harbaugh, I really wanted Mike McDaniel. I'm trying to temper expectations because I realize that, if the pattern remains the same, which it probably will, like it always is in Miami, 3 years from now, this guy will probably be fired and we'll start all over again because that's just what we do in Miami. But Mike McDaniel, I think, is a guy that's really easy to root for. There's so many videos about him, and he's just like this nerdy guy, just like, and a guy who loves football, and like he's a guy like I'm almost scared that the Dolphins franchise is gonna like ruin him because he just seems like such an upbeat, like cool dude, like a guy that listen, if he doesn't make it as a coach in the NFL, I would love to have him come be the fourth member of this podcast because he honestly seems like a guy that would just be cool to hang out with. I like him, but on the football side of things, I think it's good to have an offensive coordinator finally come in, and he's a guy who's been in the league for I think 15 years, bounced around with Kyle Shanahan, and we see other Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay disciples going around the league. Zach Taylor right now is in the Super Bowl. They've had tremendous success, that coaching tree. So I'm hopeful. I'm really excited for Mike McDaniel. He just brings kind of a different vibe. I think Dolphins Twitter is so excited for him. So I like the hire. I'm excited for the hire. I'm cautiously optimistic because, like I said, odds are in 3 years he's probably fired, and I don't think that's an insult to him at all. Like I said, I really like Mike McDaniel, but that's just the way things work in Miami and as a Dolphins fan. But I hope we found our next Don Shula. I hope that this is the guy that turns things around. And I do also like going and getting the hot young name offensive coordinator and naming him your head coach instead of an offensive coordinator, because then other teams can't come and steal him away from you. Like we see oftentimes offensive coordinators get stolen from teams to be head coaches somewhere else. But now if you have the great offensive mind as your head coach, he's just your head coach. So I hope it works out. I'm really excited for the potential staff that he might be bringing in. There's rumors that he might bring in Vic Fangio as the defensive coordinator, which I would be dancing in the streets if they get Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator, because he is one of the best defensive minds of this generation. Having him as defensive coordinator would be awesome. So we're really excited for Mike McDaniel, and I hope the Dolphins don't ruin him. But that's kind of all we really need to talk about on the head coaching front. And one more thing before we get into our Super Bowl extravaganza, we got to talk a little bit about Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray's in the news this week, Mike. Why don't you let everybody know why Kyler Murray is in the news and why we're talking about him on the podcast?
Well, if you haven't heard, if you kind of live under a rock, Kyler Murray has unfollowed the Cardinals, and I believe, is it players and coaches too, or just the Cardinals in general, off of socials, which we have seen before with other big players. Usually means they, are kind of tired of what's going on, wanting to move on. Not saying that Kyler Murray is ready to be no longer a Arizona Cardinal, because he's only been there for 2 seasons, and I feel like they've had success, even though they've collapsed late both seasons. Don't know if it's so much Kyler Murray, but it's strange. I saw a picture. He's going to go play with the Oakland Athletics. He's going to be a baseball player, Joe. He's just tired of the NFL. Can't handle it. But no, in all seriousness, I hope Kyler Murray's not done as a Cardinal. I hope this is just, maybe he's done with social media. Maybe he just kind of stepping away. I don't know why he would unfollow everybody, but I don't know. Kyler Murray as an Arizona Cardinal, he's changed the way they play. He's just changed the scenery of that team, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. Like he's a real talent and joy to watch. So I hope he's not done as a Cardinal, but I mean, only time will tell. What were your takes on this one?
I honestly have no idea. Like, he also deleted all but 2 of his Instagram posts.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Anything Cardinal related essentially was gone. And there was only pictures of him at the Pro Bowl with a couple of Packers coaches. Like, there was him with Matt LaFleur. It is Matt LaFleur. Mike LaFleur? No, Mike LaFleur is his brother.
Matt LaFleur, yeah.
Yes.
Matt LaFleur, however you want to say
LaFleur. And it's French, Mike. The LaFleur means the flower. Come on, you would know that if you're a Canadian.
I moved many years ago.
Yeah, but yeah, there's pictures of him with some Packers coaches, and then I think there's some sort of picture of him with Mike Evans or something, or Mike Evans posted a picture of Kyler Murray, something like that. So there's like rumors that he might want to go to Tampa Bay and replace Tom Brady. Also rumors that maybe he would go to Green Bay and replace Aaron Rodgers. And to me, I don't understand this at all. Like, this came completely out of left field. I don't know. Like, The Cardinals, before they even drafted him, they built like this whole team around him. Like they brought in his coach from college. Like I don't understand.
Imagine DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green. They're like, oh, we're just not good enough. I mean, D Hop did get hurt down the stretch, but it's like, oh, I see how it is.
Yeah, imagine like JJ Watt and all those guys that got there, and they're like, oh, what the heck? Kyler Murray is leaving.
And Joe, we all know from the way the Pro Bowl was played this year, which we can talk about later. Just because you have a bit of fun in the Pro Bowl does not mean that you're going to be an amazing team on that team. Like if you and Mike Evans, caught fire in the Pro Bowl, that means nothing. I mean, there's literally no defense in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. I hope that's not influencing it. There's some people that think that maybe he wants a contract extension or whatever, but like this seems like a very weird way to go about trying to get a contract extension. I don't know.
Have you noticed all the things that have been popping up leading up to the Super Bowl? Like, you would think people would kind of just like, okay, Super Bowl's happening. Once it's over, I'll be my dramatic self. Yeah. But we've had the Brady retirement, the whole extravaganza, Kyler Murray situation, Brian Flores situation. Is there anything else?
I think that's most.
But still,
of it.
like, even those three things in less than 2 weeks, like that's nuts.
Yeah.
Hey. Alvin Kamara getting arrested.
Yes. Didn't even talk about Alvin Kamara getting arrested in Las Vegas.
Potential 5 years in prison.
Is that really what's going on?
That's what I believe. I saw somewhere in Ian Rappaport, of course. He was talking about it, and it seems very serious, Joe.
I saw that him and his friends beat the living crap out of a guy. And I was talking to one of my friends, and it's like, how do you, like, it's unbelievable how easy it is to not get arrested. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I do it every single
day.
Yep.
I mean, just I will say we're
NFL
not celebrities,
players,
so
yeah, just don't get arrested, man. It's not that hard. But anyways, I don't know what's going on with Kyler Murray. All I know is I would trade like probably my left pinky finger for the Dolphins to have Kyler Murray. So potentially, Dolphins just maybe hit him up with a follow, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say on that. Alvin Kamara, hopefully gets figured out there. We don't have a whole lot of clarity on that whole situation, but stop getting arrested, NFL players, please.
Yeah,
it's not,
especially in Vegas.
Not hard, especially in Vegas. Yes, especially in Vegas, Henry Ruggs and all that stuff that went on there. It's just, you have millions of dollars, man. You have it all made. Don't ruin it for yourself. Like, just be smart. Be smart. But we're going to try to be smart for the rest of the episode, because we're going to talk a lot about the Super Bowl. Actually, Mike, you had your roast thing. Do you want to do your roast thing now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah? Okay.
So last week we introduced we're going to wait till next year to reveal a name. We're just going to call it Tim Hortons Classic Roast. Today, on this episode, I only have one thing, and that is the Pro Bowl in general. Just, that's a classic roast. I mean, I love the skill showdowns. Like the dodgeball was even entertaining this year. The Mac Jones versus Russell Wilson, even though Russell Wilson obliterated Mac Jones in the quarterback skills competition, still fun to watch. Like, all the little games are just so enjoyable. Like the receiver catching game, you had Trayvon Diggs, a defensive back, winning that, I believe. So, like, all those games are just so much fun to watch. And then you pull up to the actual Pro Bowl game, and it is horrendous. Like, this year, I believe it literally was, like, two-hand touch. Because I saw some plays where they just, were touching the people down. Yeah. I will say the highlight of the entire game came in the fourth quarter when Mac Jones bursted, like, 70 yards, even though the play was dead, and then did the gritty in the end zone.
Goodness.
I still, like... Even though I'm a Pats fan, I still think that was by far the highlight of the game. But no, the Pro Bowl, get rid of the Pro Bowl. Just introduce more games. That's what we need to do, and that is today's Tim Hortons Classic Roast, Joe.
All right, I love it. And you know what? I'm going to throw one in the ring. This is off the cuff. I kind of forgot about this segment. Not that it's not a good segment. It's a fantastic segment. I'm excited for this. My Classic Roast is going to go towards the Houston Texans. Because what the heck are you guys doing? What is your plan? Like like you fire David Culley, but then you hire his defensive coordinator as your new head coach. But we all know you want to hire Josh McCown. Like, this is a directionless organization. I would hate to be a fan of this team because, like, there's no silver lining here. Like, what are you doing? What's the plan? Why is Jack Easterby, calling all the shots? Nick Caserio, I think he's a good GM. He did good things in New England, but he's made some questionable decisions in Houston. Just the Texans as an overall franchise, they're my classic roast this week. And I agree.
That's a good one, Joe.
I agree with the Pro Bowl thing as well, for sure. That was embarrassing, just seeing them two-hand touch. Like, nobody even hit the ground.
Nope. I mean, we need to bring back the Sean Taylor players. Michael Parsons, let me tell you. I think a lot of people were annoyed and frustrated with how hard he was going.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're watching football, and I get it. These players, they don't want to get hurt in a meaningless game. It makes sense why they're not. Like, I'm not mad that they're not trying.
No.
I'm mad that the NFL is still allowing this to be nationally televised. Like, throw in some skills competitions instead. Like, everyone would pay to watch
the
that.
Game.
Yeah.
Who cares about the game? Yeah, let's have like a full dodgeball tournament or something instead.
Yeah.
Like,
you can have the punters do a punt off, the kickers do a kicking deal. Like, it could just be so much more fun.
I understand. Like, I'm on the player's side. I understand not wanting to get hurt. I totally
Absolutely.
I 100% understand that, and I get why they do it. Then it's on the NFL. Like, why are we still doing this? Like, this is not football. Like, what if somebody tunes in? They're like, oh, I'm gonna watch NFL. They've never watched NFL before, and this is the game that they watch.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bad product. Like, if I'm the NFL, I don't want that to be the case at all. But anyways, we don't want to spend like half an hour talking about the Pro Bowl like we did last week.
Yeah, after we said we weren't going to talk about it.
Yeah, after we said we weren't going to talk about it. One quick thing. Do you think that Trayvon Diggs should switch to wide receiver?
I think Trayvon needs to become a wide receiver and Stephon needs to become a defensive back, Joe, because they it was. I mean, unless they jersey swapped, I mean, we won't know. But yeah, that was quite impressive.
I'm just saying, man, like Trayvon Diggs, there's a weird thing coming out on Twitter this week that said he's never dropped an interception.
I was literally going to say the same thing.
Isn't that hilarious? And then the reply was, literally nobody has ever dropped an interception. That's
the best stat of all to stat that.
When I first read it, I didn't really understand it. Like, I was like, okay, oh, wow, that's crazy. You never dropped an interception. Then I read it the second time. I was like, okay. Yeah, literally, you can't drop an interception. That is so funny.
I mean, you can, but it's like you can't. Like, there's not a stat saying dropped interceptions. It's not a thing.
It's not an interception then if you dropped it. Then it's just a drop.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
it's just a drop.
He's never dropped an interception. He also has allowed the most receiving yards in the NFL this year. So maybe he should just switch to wide receiver. He's got really good hands.
Yeah.
It's an idea for Trayvon Diggs. But
that's for sure.
Anyways, why don't we move on to the game? I don't know if you heard, there's a game happening this Sunday.
Is it the Pro Bowl 2.0?
Yeah, it's the second Pro Bowl.
I hope not.
It's almost as good as the Pro Bowl, actually.
Oh, okay. That'll be hard to beat.
They're calling it the Super Bowl, and apparently it's the 56th one, and it's
the name.
It's between the Cincinnati Bengals, get this, and the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles. And Mike, you looked up some interesting facts about the Super Bowl. I don't know if you want to bring them up, just talk about them, just to kind of intro us on this Super Bowl. It's a weird Super Bowl. It's nobody was expecting the Bengals to be here. Nobody was expecting it to be the Bengals versus the Rams. The Rams were kind of a team that was built to be here, so they're kind of like the favorite at this point. But an exciting, interesting Super Bowl. But yeah, do you have some interesting facts about Super Bowl 56? It is 56, right?
I believe it's 56. Okay. And Joe, do I have some interesting facts?
All right.
Los Angeles will be hosting this year, and it is the first time in nearly 30 years, 29 years since the last time they hosted. And yet they're still ranked third in the amount of times they've hosted the Super Bowl. They are behind Miami at 11 and New Orleans at 10.
Wow.
And they have 8. And they haven't done it in 29 years, Joe. But that's still
29 years.
Yeah.
Holy, I guess, yeah, because there was not a team in Los Angeles. That actually makes sense.
Exactly. Bengals are one of 6 active teams that have not won a Super Bowl, NFL championship, or AFL championship. Wow. The other 5 being Vikings, Falcons, Panthers, Jags, and Texans.
I have a fun fact about that actually as well. I heard this fun fact. Okay, the Bengals are going to win they're trying to win their first ever Super Bowl. They would be the first team, and it doesn't happen very often that a team nowadays wins its first Super Bowl, because most teams in the NFL have won a Super Bowl. There's a few teams, you named a few of them, that haven't won a Super Bowl. Do you know in the AFC who the last team to win their first Super Bowl was? It's going to surprise you. In the AFC.
In the AFC.
Yeah, in the NFC, it has happened a few times. I know the Eagles did it a few years ago. The Seahawks did it not that long ago. The Falcons did. Oh, nope, sorry, 28-3.
Was it the... That's a good one, Joe. That's good.
For you.
This could be a dumb guess, but I'm trying to think way back in the day. Did the Raiders won one? No.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna guess the Raiders.
The Raiders did win one, but that was not their first Super Bowl, because they won some back in the day. So the last AFC team. You want me to tell you the answer?
Yeah.
I think it will blow your mind. It actually very much surprised me. The last AFC team to win their first Super Bowl. It's a weird worded question, but it makes sense if you think about it. Last AFC team to win their first Super Bowl was the New England Patriots. I kid you not. In 2000, when was the Patriots' first one? 2001?
01?
Yeah. That was the last AFC team to win their first Super Bowl. Because that was their first Super Bowl, 2001.
Yeah, that was dumb. I was thinking... I was trying way too hard on that question.
Yeah.
I'm
no,
it's
a surprise, because you think about the Patriots, they have the most Super Bowls out of any team. They're tied with the Steelers, I believe.
The Steelers.
Most Super Bowls, but they didn't start winning those Super Bowls until 2001.
Yeah, it's been all very recent.
Kind of crazy. Anyway,
that's a good stat. I would have never. That's a good fact. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that, and I was like, "Wow, that's insane. That's actually super surprising."
Yeah, I almost said Ravens, but I was like, no, no.
I think they won in 2000, the year before. So
it was right before. Anyway, Rams appearance at the Super Bowl, in SoFi, makes it the third time a participating team is playing in its home market, second time in their home stadium. If they can win, Joe, of course they'll follow the Bucs, making it 2 straight years.
Yeah.
That the NFL hosted a Super Bowl and the home team won. And get this, Joe. Breaking news. Roger Goodell is tired of home teams winning the Super Bowl. He is now permanently moving the Super Bowl to Dallas, to where a team will never win the Super Bowl again. Shout out Joe's Cowboys, my wife's Cowboys.
Why'd you have to do my Cowboys like that, man?
No, Joe, it's all jokes. Saw it on a meme. Thought it was quite hilarious.
That's why they have it in Miami so often. You were saying why they have it in Miami all the time?
That's why New England's never hosted.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Anyway, this will be the second time in Super Bowl history where 2 quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall will face each other in a championship game. In the previous matchup, it was Peyton Manning's Broncos defeated Cam Newton's Panthers in Super Bowl 50.
Kind of crazy that's only the second time.
It is nuts. And Joe, I saw something. If Joe Burrow wins the Super Bowl and MVP, he will be the first quarterback to ever win the Heisman, the SEC championship.
He didn't win the SEC championship.
Yeah, was it the Heisman, the SEC, or national championship, whatever? Heisman, national championship, Super Bowl, and Super Bowl MVP. I might be missing one.
Okay.
But all that within a 3-year span. He'll be the first quarterback to ever do that.
That's insane. Yeah, Joe Burrow's been doing a lot of winning lately.
Exactly. Super Bowl LVI, or 56, I hope it's 50. Yeah, I think it is 56. Will feature the youngest combined head coaching battle between the Rams' Sean McVay, 36, and Bengals' Zach Taylor, 38. Joe, if you think about it, these head coaches are younger than our dads.
That's pretty crazy to think about. These head coaches are both younger than Tom Brady as well.
Oh, my goodness. That is nuts. And I saw something. Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, now Mike McDaniel. And was Zach Taylor on the Reds, the Washington football team back then?
Yep.
or now Commanders, we should say.
Yeah, the Commander. We never even talked about that. Shoot.
Yeah, we can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, that year that all those coaches were together, they went 3-13.
That's
Is that not
insane.
amazing?
And they ended up hiring Jay Gruden out of all those guys.
Yeah.
Jay Gruden. Oh man.
It's nuts. It's nuts. That's like all the facts I have on
Okay.
Super Bowl. It was kind of hard finding like real interesting facts.
Yeah. No, those were great.
One more cool thing I saw that SoFi's doing at halftime.
Okay.
I think it's at halftime. They're gonna like pick tweets from that, like basically people tweeted out Super Bowl 50 and then said something. They're gonna pick so and so many tweets and then like have them, how would you say this? Basically plastered on the roof of SoFi Stadium, kind of like a digital. Oh man, what's the word? Projected on the roof of SoFi Stadium.
Oh,
yeah,
dang.
to where like if they pan over the city, you can like see the stadium. You'll be able to read some of these tweets. I thought it was really cool.
That is pretty cool. That's how you get some clout, man. We got to get the average, at _average Joe show to be tweeting on there.
Just tweet at Super Bowl 56 or whatever it is. Maybe we'll see an average Joe tweet.
Yeah, might have to do that. Okay, real quick before we get into the Super Bowl, we didn't talk about the Washington Commanders. I can't believe I really wanted to. I can't believe I forgot about it.
I didn't even think about it.
Okay, just a quick couple minutes. We won't talk too much because we got to talk Super Bowl. What were your thoughts on the Washington Commanders, the name, and their new jerseys and all that stuff?
So jerseys, didn't really like the black jersey so much. I don't know. I don't think it really fit in.
Their jerseys suck. I'm just gonna say it.
The other jerseys weren't bad, but they do kind of remind me of like my high school jerseys.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't a big fan. And the name, I think there were plenty of better options. Like I don't want to be a hater. Who knows? Maybe in 2 years, like I saw someone say, if they win if they start winning now, Washington Commanders greatest name of all time.
Yeah.
You know that now they're winners. But if they lose, worst name of all time. And I think it's so true.
Yep.
I don't like the name. I think there's gonna be some chants in the crowd. A shortened version of the name. I don't know if I want to say it on the podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I wasn't too fond of the name. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think the name is whatever. It's fine. Like there's worse names. I did like I thought the Red Wolves would have been cooler. I saw a lot of fans wanted that. That would have been nice.
I thought Red Tails was pretty cool.
Yeah, Red Tails was cool too. Like it's so like the fans came up with way better ideas, but the jerseys, to me, are the stupidest things in the whole world. I don't know if you've looked at this. I might have to send you a picture after this. But all three of their jerseys are completely different. Like, they look like they were made by three different people. Like, if you look at them, the designs are not at all the same. Like, I have a really good picture. Let me just, as I'm talking here, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'll send it to you, and you can take a look. It is unreal. Like, it looks like it was literally, they were made by three separate people, and now I'm struggling to even find the stinking jerseys.
If I'm not wrong, I believe one jersey combination was like all yellow, and it looked just like a bottle. It's like they're ketchup and mustard and pepper.
Yeah, they're
this year. Like they went with table condiments, and I don't know why.
Oh shoot, I don't have it on my phone. Never mind. Sorry, I was gonna send it to you, but
I'll Google it.
But they all three of them literally look like they were designed by three different people. I hate that. I love simplicity when it comes to jerseys, and like the stripes on like the shoulders are completely different on all three.
Yeah, I see it now. Joe, I got to ask you, the numbers, like we saw it with the Falcons.
Yeah.
A few years back, like the way they got the gradient on the numbers.
Hate that.
I'm not a fan. Like,
hate it.
I figured maybe, with the numbers this year, the receivers, any player getting to choose like kind of any number they want. I hated it at first. I grew to love it. I was like, you know what? This is so cool. Kind of like the college style jersey numbers. With the gradient, I thought, the Falcons introduced it, I believe. Maybe it'll grow on me. I hate it to this day. I think it looks absolutely awful.
Yep. Also, if you look at the picture that I had, all three jerseys also have different number fonts. Like the font of the numbers are different. It's like, what are we doing? Like there's no continuity at all in all three. I don't know. It's just hideous. Anyways, we don't need to talk.
One more thing, Joe.
Yeah.
Tell me. I don't know if you can see, but it's probably kind of blurry.
I can vaguely see it.
Tell me those black jerseys don't look like the gridiron gang jerseys.
Oh yeah. They
and that movie was made so long ago. Like,
yep. Oh man, they
But I mean, we could sit here and talk about the Raiders jerseys. They're just black and gray, like nothing special either.
But I think the Raiders look kind of nice. Like they're just
like
they're plain. Like I like plain,
simple.
Simple jerseys. I like simple jerseys. I hate when teams overcomplicate it. It looks just hideous. I hate them so much. No. I hate the jerseys more than I hate the name. The name is whatever, but the jerseys almost made me like actually upset. Like I just cannot stand them. I'm a big jerseys guy. But anyways, speaking of jerseys, the Cincinnati Bengals have decided to wear their black uniforms, and they're actually the home team. Fun fact in this Super Bowl, because the AFC, I guess they switch AFC and NFC being the home team. Mm-hmm. So technically the Bengals are the home team, despite the game being played in the home stadium of the Los Angeles Rams.
One thing to add to that, I think the Bengals got robbed because since they are the home team, they should get the home locker room.
Oh yeah.
Even though there are technically 2 home locker rooms in that stadium, I think they should be able to be in the Rams home locker room. Just to be like, that'd be hilarious. I think that'd be epic.
I think so too. They should make them switch. But yeah, I guess technically, usually the away locker room is like garbage compared to the home one. But I think that in SoFi they're probably both really nice because one is the Chargers and one is the Rams, probably, right? I don't actually know, but I'm assuming that that's what it is. But anyways. Why don't we move on to the actual game? I don't know if you're down to actually talk about
100%. Well, we have to, Joe.
Yeah, we have to eventually talk about the real game, unless you want to go for 15 more minutes on the Washington Commanders.
To be honest, Joe, I think we should fall back on that. Probably get more views. Yeah. Everyone loves Washington.
Everybody loves the commies, man. Everybody loves them.
There it is. There it is.
Anyways, why don't we talk about matchups in this game? I think that's a really, really important part of football is separate matchups, and I'm wondering if you have any just matchups. You can bring up a matchup that you think will be really important, and then we can kind of discuss it. What's one matchup that you're looking forward to seeing, or that you think is going to be key in this Super Bowl?
I think the number one matchup, of course, everyone's going to be talking about, Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase with a Super Bowl on the line. I can't be more excited. I hope that's what we see. I hope it's not Jalen Ramsey kind of just, floating around. Like, that's what everyone wants to see. And then if you think about it on the other side, I guess it would be Eli Apple or Jesse Bates versus Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham. Those are matchups that I like, the receivers versus defensive backs, I guess I could say. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be stellar this year, Joe.
Absolutely. Jalen Ramsey, I think I saw some things on Media Day that he said he's planning on following Jamar Chase, so he's going to shadow him. I hope we see that. Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey. That is like an all-world matchup. I have some numbers here. Jamar Chase is averaging 93 yards per game in the playoffs right now. He's also averaging 6.5 receptions. Jalen Ramsey, in the last game that they played versus San Francisco, the NFC Championship, allowed 0 receiving yards, and then in the game, their first playoff game, allowed just 14 receiving yards. However, in the game versus Tampa Bay, he had an off day. I don't know if you remember him versus Mike Evans. He allowed Tom Brady's final passing touchdown of his career. Also allowed over 100 receiving yards. So we've seen Jalen Ramsey struggle a few times in this postseason so far, and we even saw Jamar Chase, I believe, against the Chiefs, only put up 50-some receiving yards. So we've seen both of them play at like another level, and we've seen both of them play kind of slow or quieter games. And to me, this is a huge matchup between these two. And I'm wondering, who do you think has the edge in this matchup?
I want to say the defense. I want to say Jalen Ramsey. I think in that one-on-one, I think he has the advantage based off of experience. He's been in some big games in his career, and he's just. I told you at the beginning of the season, I think he could win Defensive Player of the Year, and he's just been locked down again this year. So I would have to say the Rams do have the advantage there, Joe. But this game kind of reminds me of the Seahawks and Patriots from 2014, where you had one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL. go up against Tom Brady and the Patriots offense, which had plenty of weapons. You had Gronk, you had Edelman, you had Amendola. But I mean, at the same time, they weren't like the number one offense in the league. And so I think it's me very similar to that game, kind of a mid, highish scoring game. But I do still believe that the defense has the Rams defense does have a bit of the advantage, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, your audio was just cutting out a little bit there.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, I think it's my fault. My internet connection is terrible. But no, I did get some of what you were saying there, and absolutely, I think you said you think the defense has the advantage, and
yes,
I do think that Jalen Ramsey is the best defensive back in the NFL, and you said you picked him as your defensive player of the year at the beginning of the season. I do remember that. I do think that he, like, if you're asking me, I'm without a doubt saying he is the best defensive back in the NFL. I'm convinced of that. However, I almost want to give the edge to Jamar Chase in this matchup, and it's just because playing cornerback is really, really difficult, and Jalen Ramsey can play lights out the entire game, just kind of like he did against Tampa Bay, but if he lets up, anything, and like one touchdown grab, one, big 20-yard completion, everybody's going to be looking at that and going to be saying, oh, look at Jamar Chase. He burnt Jalen Ramsey or whatever. It's hard to play defensive back in the NFL. So, and Jamar Chase is unreal. Like, he's not a rookie. He looks unreal so far in this season. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Jamar Chase get a few big-time receptions on Jalen Ramsey and make a real difference. So to me, I'm honestly going to say right now, the way they're playing, I'm going to give Jamar Chase the edge. I know you gave Jalen Ramsey the edge, but I could very well be very wrong. I do think Jalen Ramsey is phenomenal. I'm not trying to throw shade at him, but another matchup that I want to talk about, and this is the matchup that everybody's talking about. This is the matchup. This is not new news. This is not like something that we just discovered, but it's the Rams defensive line against the Bengals offensive line. I don't think we have to discuss who's going to win this matchup. I think we know. I think we know the Rams defensive line is going to win this matchup. And that doesn't necessarily mean the Rams will win the game. I'm not saying they'll win the game, but we know they will win this matchup because there's just no way. I mean, the Bengals have the worst offensive line in the NFL. Joe Burrow was the most sacked quarterback during the regular season. He got sacked a playoff record 9 times against the Titans just a few games ago. And then, they still won. The Los Angeles Rams have the 3rd most sacks during the regular season. They're a team. Aaron Donald's got 12.5 on the season. Leonard Floyd, who's kind of the forgotten man, had 9.5 this season. And then Von Miller also had 9.5. So they have just a bunch of guys that can get after the quarterback. And Mike, how do the Bengals survive, this defensive line against their porous offensive line?
In the exact same way they played the Titans, Joe. We saw in that game, Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times, a playoff record, and they still won the game. If the Rams are going to bring the heat, they better be ready to see, to have Joe Burrow, find the gaps in the defense. And a lot of times when pressure is brought, it means man coverage. And Joe Burrow, I know he didn't have, I don't know if he had the greatest game against the Titans, but he did just enough, to lead them down the field when they needed to and win that game. So if you're Sean McVay and you're getting your DC to be pushing the pressure on that O-line, which you have to, because of how bad that O-line is, you just got to be ready to have Burrow be flinging it. And I think that this is going to come down to a quarterback matchup, which is another matchup I want to talk about, Joe. I think, it's going to come down to Joe Burrow leading his team down with, a few minutes left on the clock to win the game. And, but if you're the Rams, you're feeling really good about this matchup because Aaron Donald and Von Miller this season, them going out and getting Von Miller is exactly, they knew what they were getting out of Von Miller. And, against that O-line, as, like you said, they've allowed the most sacks. I feel like that D-line, it's going to be kind of like the Broncos versus the Panthers where Von Miller and, what was his name? Was it DeMarcus Lawrence? No.
Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware.
DeMarcus Ware. There we go.
Yeah.
They just got after Cam Newton all day long, and you see it. Super Bowl wins or defense wins championships, and so that defense I think is going to be all over Cincinnati. But we did also see a good defense in Kansas City get absolutely torched by the Bengals. They're down the stretch, so anything can happen in the Super Bowl. A lot of pressure, a lot is at stake, and it's gonna. I think that's the key matchup in the game for sure. But I mean, we could also, like I was saying, we could also talk about the quarterbacks. We got Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow, 2 first-time quarterbacks going into the Super Bowl. Joe, how do you feel about that matchup?
Yeah, that's the other key matchup I had written down here. Obviously, you got to talk about the quarterback matchup, and Matthew Stafford playing in his first Super Bowl for his first season away from Detroit. Joe Burrow, just his second season. You've heard all the comparisons about him and Tom Brady, and I've been pushing it all season long, so I'm not going to say I'm above those predictions, but this is just another parallel to Tom Brady playing his in a Super Bowl in just his second season in the NFL. Just a very intriguing matchup. 2 quarterbacks I think playing as hot as they have played all season long. Matthew Stafford through the playoffs has averaged just at 300 yards per game. He's thrown 2 touchdowns per game. He's only thrown 1 interception this whole playoffs, and that was the biggest thing with him this season. Was he was playing phenomenal in some games, but he just made those boneheaded mistakes. That's what got in the way of success for him and the Rams. But he's cut that down, and that's exactly what I said going into the playoffs. If he can cut that down, this Rams team can be dangerous, and that's exactly what happened. And Joe Burrow, he hasn't played unbelievable. I mean, he's played really well, but he's just been steady. He's been straight line. He hasn't panicked. He's been cool under pressure. He's been Joe Burr, as they call him, just a guy who's
Joe Cool.
Yeah, Joe Cool. What's Joe Shiesty, whatever else they're calling him. Just the cool as a cucumber. He's got that killer mentality. That same thing that Tom Brady has. Yeah, he's got ice in his veins. That's something you can't measure. Joe Burrow's numbers in the playoffs aren't as good as Matthew Stafford's, but you can argue that he's been far more impactful than Matthew Stafford has been. So to me, this is a really, really big matchup. And I'm wondering, who do you think has the advantage at the quarterback position in this matchup? I think that's a very, very intriguing question, because that can often decide games. Is the better quarterback. Who do you think has the advantage, the Bengals or the Rams?
Joe, let me give you my answer, and then I'm going to explain. I got the Matthew Stafford and the Rams, I believe, have the advantage because they got Odell, experienced, Cooper Kupp, who's been phenomenal this season. They got Jefferson. I'm not sure if Higbee's playing. I don't know if because he was battling an injury there against the Niners. But the passing game for Matthew Stafford, it's there. He's got all the weapons he needs. But at the same time, I feel like the Rams have way more pressure on their shoulders because, Joe, they went out and got all these players, all the big names. Like everyone expected them to be in the Super Bowl. So if you lose, Joe, I got a question for you. If the Rams lose the Super Bowl, do we compare Matthew Stafford to Jared Goff? Because Jared Goff also got the Rams to the Super Bowl 2-3 years ago, So if you're Matthew Stafford and you lose this game, nothing you did all season will really matter. Like, fans will not look at what you did all season because Jared Goff...
Especially if you only put up 3 points.
Exactly. And, Jared Goff, we call him what he is, but... he did get the team to the Super Bowl. He did help do his part, get the team to the Super Bowl. And if you're only going to put up 10 points in the Super Bowl, I mean, we're not going to be talking about you very much. And who knows, he might be a one and done with the Rams. But I do still believe they have the advantage, but they also have more pressure on their shoulders.
All right. Well, in my opinion, I do like what you said about the Rams having the advantage. I think honestly Joe Burrow is the better quarterback, and that's coming from somebody who loves Matthew Stafford. I've supported Matthew Stafford for years. I was so excited when the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford. I think he's awesome. But if you're asking me who do I want, with under 2 minutes left to win this Super Bowl, who do I trust? It's Joe Burrow, man. It's Joe Burrow. It's the way that he's playing. I mean, I'm not picking them necessarily to win. We'll get into our score predictions later, but I'm just saying, I want Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the quarterback that I think has the advantage in this matchup. And that's crazy to say because Matthew Stafford's really good. Matthew Stafford's numbers are honestly better than Joe Burrow's throughout this postseason. But Joe Burrow, I mean, the guy's just cold-blooded. The guy, he doesn't flinch. And he can just put the team on his back. And he just, you've seen under pressure, doesn't matter. He puts the team on his back. But I do wonder, like, how long can the Bengals get away with this? Like, having the terrible offensive line, having Joe Burrow get sacked under pressure, like, at what point does the dam burst? Like, is this when the dam bursts? When you have Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, and Von Miller? Is this finally, the straw that broke the camel's back? That's one part I think. Like, how, like, I almost like feel like they can't keep getting away with this. Like every team says how important it is to build an offensive line, but this team is succeeding with like one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. So I'm definitely interested to see that as far as Joe Burrow's aspect goes. But I do have a couple players I just want to mention. I have a couple of, the Super Bowl is oftentimes there's like an unsung hero that will step up. Guys who are like under the radar guys like Malcolm Butler, who ended up turning it into a decent career. Malcolm Smith for the Seattle Seahawks a few years ago came out of nowhere, made some big plays. In that same game, the Malcolm Butler game, the Seahawks had a receiver. I almost forget his name. I think it was like Chris Matthews or something.
Yeah.
I think Chris Matthews, a guy that was never heard of before that game, basically never heard of since. He played in the CFL, I think, after then. Like, never heard of this guy. He had a huge game, and like I think he had like 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. Like, guys just step up out of nowhere, and I have a couple guys I want to bring up as guys that I think could be like unsung heroes in this Super Bowl. One is regarding this whole Rams defensive line. We've talked about Aaron Donald. We've talked about Von Miller. Von Miller's won Super Bowl MVP. I think the name that people keep forgetting about is Leonard Floyd. Watch out for Leonard Floyd because all the attention is going to be on those other 2 guys. And to me, Leonard Floyd, he has benefited more than anybody else on playing across from one of the best players we've ever seen in Aaron Donald. I think that he could wreak havoc in this game because he could be left alone. And Leonard Floyd is a tremendous pass rusher. And then on the other side, another player I want to bring up, and it's Leonard Floyd, and I'm about to do a little poetry because on the other side, it's Tyler Boyd and Leonard Floyd. Tyler Boyd, he's I think a forgotten man on the Cincinnati Bengals defense, receiving core, and I think the reason he is so key is because he's the guy who's lining up in the slot. All the attention is going to be on Jamar Chase. You have Jalen Ramsey shadowing Jamar Chase, and then you have all the rest of the attention on T. Higgins, and CJ Uzama is injured. He might not play in this game, so you want to get these quick passes off because Joe Burrow's going to be under pressure. So to me, I think Tyler Boyd could have himself a big game in this game, so just watch out for that. And then one more key matchup I do want to talk about, and it's the head coaching matchup.
Yep.
Zach Taylor versus Sean McVay. And there's one reason in particular I think this is a really interesting thing because I think it's fairly obvious, and I don't know, maybe you disagree. I think it's fairly obvious Sean McVay is the better coach. I don't know. I think that's obvious. To me, Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the NFL. I think, no disrespect to Zach Taylor, but the reason why it is interesting, though, is because Zach Taylor was the quarterback coach for Sean McVay in Los Angeles. And also, he's been with Sean McVay basically his whole coaching career. So how big of a factor do you think it is that Zach Taylor knows Sean McVay's offense better than probably anybody else? Do you think that plays a role in this game at all?
I think it can, but I don't know, Joe. It's such a big game, big stage. I feel like Zach Taylor's going to be planning for his team and what they need to do to win, which of course would be stopping that offense. But yeah, no, it's so tough to say because I mean we've seen matchups in the past where like a coach will come from a team and then play against that team, and it can really go either way because of the scale of the game. So I don't know how much that'll play into effect, but I do agree with your point about Sean McVay being the better coach for sure with what he's done with the Rams ever since he took over. I think he's done a phenomenal job, and he's still young. He's still got plenty of years left in him. So I do feel like it's weird. Like I have a feeling the Rams have so many advantages in coaching and players and teams, but how often, Joe, do we see the underdog in these moments like shine? Like how often do we see the team that is literally like given no chance just come through and win the game? And I'm gonna tell you right now, Joe, with all I've said today, I'm definitely gonna be rooting for the underdog. I'm definitely gonna be rooting for Joe Burrow and the Bengals in this game. And no, like for sure that coaching matchup is one, like the fact that they've been together, back in Washington and basically throughout their entire careers have been coaching together. It's for sure going to be a matchup to watch.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely interesting. We've seen Sean McVay get out coached in the Super Bowl before. We saw it with Bill Belichick. I think he was in over his head a little bit. He said he over-prepared in that Super Bowl, so who knows? Maybe he does it again. And one final question before we get into some of the prop bets. We're going to have a little fun with some of the prop bets here at the end. Who do you think is under the most pressure in this game? First of all, before we, specific people, which team do you think is under the most pressure to win? Is it the Rams or the Bengals?
I'm going to say the Rams because of what I said earlier. Like, they paid so much, given up so much for this moment. And, if they lose Joe, they've given up so much, like, you can't lose at this point.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the Bengals at this point are playing with house money. I mean, this is a season that they're not supposed to be here. And that's the most dangerous teams you can find in any sport. A team that's not supposed to be there. They got a chip on their shoulder. They're not supposed to be here. They're not supposed to win. I think the Rams are absolutely under pressure because they have all the big name free agents. They gave away all their draft picks. They have no draft picks left, essentially. Their cap space is gone. I do think they are under the most pressure. I think Sean McVay's under a lot of pressure because the narrative is going to be, he can't win the big one if he doesn't win this one. I think Matthew Stafford's under a whole lot of pressure. That's definitely the case. And I think the Bengals, I think that's why they've been so dangerous the whole playoffs. Nobody expects them to be here. That's why Joe Burrow's been so cool the whole time. But do you think that, also one more thing, do you think that Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer automatically if he wins this game?
That's tough to say. I think we throw Matthew Stafford. I wouldn't know. I don't know if I would say first ballot, but I think his name would be in the Hall of Fame talks. Super Bowl victory is a big thing, and with all the success he did have in Detroit, a place where it seemed like no matter what, they did everything they could to lose, and he was willing to give everything, his body, just his life for that city. I do believe Matthew Stafford with a win and a great performance. I think that we could say he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. And he's still got, Joe, I feel like he's in his younger 30s or mid 30s, so he's still got a few years left in him. And who knows what we could see out of Matthew Stafford for the rest of his career. I would like to answer the second part to your question, I think that you asked me before. I believe that Odell, Von Miller, and some of these other big, big players they brought in are under the most pressure because of Matthew Stafford. Because, they gave up so much to go get you, and if you don't perform in this game, it's going to all be for nothing.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I think those big-name guys, this is what you pay for. You need your big-name guys to step up, and if those big-name guys don't step up, you're going to look like a fool. And I do think that they are under a ton of pressure. I agree 100%. Now, before we get into our score prediction, what we've all been waiting for, who we're going to pick to win, and our Super Bowl MVPs, why don't we have a little fun? The Super Bowl's a huge betting paradise. Like, everybody loves. I'm not a huge sports gambler. I once in a while throw a couple dollars here and there, but I always love talking about the prop bets. There's always a lot of fun prop bets. And Mike, you were reading me some of the fun ones that they have this year for this year's Super Bowl. There's always some crazy ones. Before we get to those, I have a couple just player related ones These are just like numbers related, and I want to get your take on this. So the first one I have is Joe Mixon over under. So over or under 65.5 rushing yards. What do you think? Joe Mixon over under 65.5 rushing yards. It seems low.
I'm gonna take the under just because of the D line and the O line situation.
Yeah, I took the under as well. I do think the Rams defensive line, we saw what they did to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. They're one of the best running teams in the NFL, and they couldn't get anything going. And I have Cooper Kupp over or under 106.5 receiving yards.
Joe, I'm gonna take the under. Surprisingly,
really?
Yeah.
All right, I'm smashing that over. I honestly.
Wow. Okay.
Cooper Kupp, it seems like he has 180 yards in every single game, so I'm smashing the over.
I know he's
one.
the go-to, but I feel like it's gonna get close. I think he's gonna have like 95.
Yeah, Super Bowls are weird too. Like it's always like low scoring and takes a while.
Like you said, Joe, there's always that one player that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Couple more. Jamar Chase, over or under 5.5 receptions.
Oh, over. It's not. It's gonna be like 12.
Yeah, that's what I think. I'm smashing the over because I think there's a good chance the Bengals get behind, and I think they're just gonna force the ball to their best player.
Yeah.
One more before we get to the more silly ones, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
Evan McPherson, Evan McFearless. The guy who does not miss. Over or under 1.5 field goals.
I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I'm smashing that over. There's no way. I think he's hit 4 field goals in every single playoff game so far.
He's like, was it 8 for 8 or 11 for 11 or something like that?
I think he's 12 for 12 so far.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 12 for 12 in the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm definitely smashing the over on that one. But why don't you read us off some of the more fun prop bets that they have, less serious ones.
Got you, dude. All right, which team is going to win the coin toss, Joe? The Bengals or the Rams?
Shoot. Oh man, this is literally there's no skill involved in this one. I'm gonna say the Bengals, and I'm gonna say they're win it.
Really?
They're gonna win it on a tails because tails never fails.
Well, that leads me to the next one, Joe. I'm picking the Rams to win it, and I was gonna ask who or what does it land on, heads or tails? And I'm going to take the heads because lately I see heads winning.
It does seem like heads has won a lot lately.
Next one we'll go to is which QB will be shown first during the anthem?
Which QB is going to be shown first? I think it's going to be Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is just a bigger superstar. I like Matthew Stafford's big, but I think Joe Burrow's like he's like the big seller, I think.
Yeah, no, Joe, I'm going to agree with you on that one. I'm going to take Joe Burrow as well. Will the opening kickoff be a touchback or will it be return?
I heard something about this that almost none of the opening kickoffs in the Super Bowl were touchbacks. I don't know if that's true, but I heard somebody else talking about this on a podcast. I think Pat McAfee or somebody said that during the Super Bowl, they just take the ball out of a box right before the kickoff and it's rock hard or something. So it's really hard to kick or something. So there's no touchbacks. I'm going to say no touchback.
I'm going to go with return as well, Joe.
All right.
Which team will score first?
Which team will score first? I'm going to say the Rams.
I like that. As much as I want to say the Bengals, I feel like the Rams will. Yeah, I'm thinking Rams, and it'll probably be a field goal, but we're going to rock with the Rams.
I have such a strong feeling it will be a field goal. I feel like every single Super Bowl starts with a field goal.
Yeah. Let me see. Who's gonna record the longest field goal, Joe?
Oh, Evan McFearless.
The Rams or the you're gonna take the Bengals.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Matt Gay is struggling a little bit right now. I'm taking McFearless.
Yeah. I'm also gonna rock. That was actually a pretty easy one. Let's see which other ones I want to go with. Oh, here's a good one. Who will have more receiving yards? Kupp or Chase?
Ooh, Kupp or Chase. I'm gonna say Kupp. I think Cooper Kupp. Like I said, it seems like he has 180 yards in every single game.
I'm actually gonna go with Chase.
Okay.
I'm gonna rock with Jamar on that one. And I got 2 more, Joe.
All right.
What color will the Gatorade bath be?
Ooh, this is a good one. Shoot. Man. I'm going to say I feel like orange. I feel like it's orange a lot. Or like,
Are you hinting at something, Joe? Are you hinting at a team?
Oh,
there
no,
winning the Super
honestly,
Bowl?
I was not. But I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like when I imagine a coach getting the Gatorade bath dumped on him, it's usually like orange.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna rock with white. For some reason, I feel like there's
White.
gonna be like that white, clearish white
Dang.
Gatorade. I don't know why. I'm gonna rock.
That's a
with
good
white.
bet. I bet you if you put money on white, that would and it hit, you'd make a lot of money off that one.
Yeah. All right, Joe. And the question I think everybody has been waiting for: who is winning the game, Joe?
Oh boy. Here we go. So this is
And then right after you give me an answer, give me a score and maybe your MVP pick.
okay. I'll give you a score. I'll give you a winner. Obviously, if I give you a score, I'll give you my Super Bowl MVP, and I'll give you the stat line for my Super Bowl MVP.
Oh,
I'm
like
gonna do you one better. So
I like
this is honestly, and I mean this. I really, really struggled to come up with a winner for this game. I really did. Because listen, if you look at the matchup, the Rams on paper look better almost everywhere, and I'm not gonna lie about it. They do, but I always go, not always, but most of the time, I always side for the team that has the better quarterback, and I've done that week in and week out. I always, when I don't know, when it's a toss-up, I go to the team with the better quarterback. And I said earlier, I think Joe Burrow's the better quarterback. I really do. But I can't do it. I cannot pick the Bengals. I'm sorry. I know. I wish everybody could see Mike's face. He's stunned. I'm sorry. I mean, the dam has to break at some point with this offensive line with Joe Burrow. And this defensive line, I think, will take over this game. I think they will, honestly. And I'm gonna say, honestly, I think either this game is gonna be close and the Bengals win at the last second, or the Rams kind of put it to the Bengals. And that's what I'm picking right now. I'm gonna say it's a 31-20 victory for the Los Angeles Rams. They put it to him a little bit. I think Matthew Stafford in this offense is going to get off to a hot start. I know the Bengals defense is playing pretty well, but I think offensively for the Bengals, it's going to be tough sledding, man. It really is. And I think one man in specific, and he's my Super Bowl MVP. And make sure you guys bet on this because the odds are unreal. Aaron Donald is going to be my Super Bowl MVP.
Wow.
That's right. Defensive MVP. It happens every once in a while. Guys, if you bet $100 on this, if it hits, and it will because I predicted it, if it hits, you win $1,300, man. I mean, come on. Those are good odds. But Aaron Donald, and I think he's going to have 2.5 sacks and a forced fumble. And that's, to me, is enough. That's enough to win Super Bowl MVP. I think Matthew Stafford will play well, but I think the big storyline is going to be that this defensive line and this defense and all the talent on the Rams is just it's too much. It's too much for the Bengals, and I really hate myself for saying that because I want to root for the Bengals. I always root for the underdogs. I love the underdog story all the time, and I love Joe Burrow. I can't believe I honestly am kind of mad at myself for doing this, but I got to go with my gut, and I think my gut is telling me that the Rams win the Super Bowl 31-20, and Aaron Donald is going to Disney World as the Super Bowl MVP.
Wow, that was good, Joe. So are you rooting for the Rams, or are you going to be rooting for the Bengals?
I don't know. I hate when people ask me who I'm rooting for in the Super Bowl. I don't know. I like the Rams. I really do. I know you don't really like the Rams. You're not into the whole super team thing too much.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I like the Rams.
Don't hate them, but I'm just like, eh.
I like the Rams. I've really, like, the Bengals have grown on me. Like, I don't like the Bengals as much as I like Joe Burrow. Like, I love Joe Burrow, but I do still really like the Bengals, and I love the underdog story. So I honestly, I don't know who I'm rooting for. That's my answer to that question.
Well, Joe, I guess it's a good problem to have because then it just makes the game more fun.
I'm rooting for a good game.
And I mean, I'll come out and say it. regardless of the winner, I think either quarterback, either team deserves to win. Like I don't know how, like, it's been a while since I've been this pumped for a Super Bowl. Even as a Patriots fan, it hasn't been that long since Pats were in one. But no, this Super Bowl I think is shaping up to be it's going to be a banger, Joe.
Yeah.
It's funny because our score prediction was actually nearly dead on. Like, I almost had the same score prediction as you. Yeah, and we did not talk about this prior to the podcast.
We did not.
So it's going to come down to the end of the game, like you said. Score's going to be 24-24, and I am predicting that Joe Burrow leads his team down the field. The Bengals win 31-24. And, underdog story. I love the narrative. Joe Burrow wins MVP. To top off everything he's come back from, wins comeback player of the year. And his stat line, Joe, is he's going to go 28 for 42.
All right.
282 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks.
2 picks.
The defense is going to get to him in the first half. The Bengals are going to look like they're just down. And it's going to be the like you've compared him to, the Tom Brady comeback where, he takes over the game. He shows the NFL why the Bengals selected him and why he's the talk of the town. And he's going to do most of his damage in the second half. I think he's going to really struggle in the first half. They're going to come out of halftime, and he's just going to light the Super Bowl up. I think he's going to show the NFL why he deserved to be in this game and why the NFL needs to start, and fans need to start talking about Joe Burrow instead of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
I love it. Listen, if that plays out, man, I will have no qualms about it at all. I love that we're picking different sides. I feel like we've been doing that a lot in this playoffs.
Our entire
lives, 100%. Listen, if that happens, that would be sick. That would be a sweet ending to the Super Bowl, man. I'm so excited for this Super Bowl. Like, I can't even.
Only crime is that we cannot watch it
I know,
together.
right? Oh my goodness. One day. When life gets back to normal, we will get together and we will watch a Super Bowl, and we'll maybe even do like a live podcast or something. It'll be
like a live reaction.
Yes, it'll be incredible. I can't wait. I have like one question. Like, your team, you've seen play in the Super Bowl multiple times. Is it almost more fun when your team's not playing in the Super Bowl? Or is it just more fun when your team is in the Super Bowl?
It's crazy. The Super Bowl, I think that's been the most fun for me is I want to say is the Eagles Patriots Super Bowl when the Eagles won, because the game was just so good.
Yeah.
I will say there's not pressure, so you don't have to sit there and just be freaking out like, am I going to be depressed tomorrow?
Yeah.
Am I going to be excited? When the Super Bowl matchup is this good, I am almost more excited when my team's not in it. I know it sounds bad as a fan, but you can just enjoy the game as a whole instead of just rooting for one team. But of course, I do love if my team makes it. It's so much fun to watch. And if Mac Jones leads the Patriots to the Super Bowl, I will definitely be hyped.
Yeah.
But this game in general, Joe, I've been so ready for this game. I think this matchup is going to be epic.
Yes, 100%. The reason I ask is because a few seasons ago, my Toronto Raptors were in the NBA Finals. And I remember, obviously they won, and it's that's still my favorite sports moment of all time. That's the only time one of my favorite sports teams have ever won anything. And I'm mostly a football guy, but I love basketball. Well, I don't really love basketball. I always say I love the Raptors. I don't love basketball. I don't love the NBA. But so when they won, that was incredible. But I remember thinking during the finals, I was like, this is miserable. I am miserable because it is just oh, man, and it's even worse in the NBA because there's multiple games. It's I have to go through multiple nights like this. And, when the Raptors lost, I think, Game 5, and, they had a 3-1 lead, and they lost Game 5 just at the end. And I remember I could not sleep that whole night. I was like, oh, they're going to blow a 3-1 lead. We're going to be the jokes of the world. And I was just like, oh, man, I was almost like, I hope my team never makes it to the finals again, because it's almost miserable. But if they win, it pays off. But it'll be payoff regardless for us in this year's Super Bowl, because it's going to be a sick matchup. Really, really looking forward to it. This was a sick podcast. The Super Bowl extravaganza, Mike. We got a couple more episodes. We got one more after this, recapping hopefully an amazing Super Bowl. And then we're going to go on a little bit of a hiatus and just try to improve the podcast and try to improve ourselves. But it's been an incredible season. I hope it's going to be an incredible ending to the season, Mike. Thank you for... we won't say our goodbyes yet. We have one more podcast.
No, we got one more episode,
one more.
Joe. Don't make me cry.
Yeah, we're not gonna do any crying yet, but super excited, Mike. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say to our listeners before we wrap things up.
Joe, normally I plug in a basketball score or a game, but I would just like to shout out Jordan Spieth.
Oh yeah,
seen a lot of videos. I'm a big Jordan Spieth fan.
I was gonna ask you about this.
He's my favorite golfer. I watched Sunday all day, basically, and him coming down the stretch and he lost the tournament there on the final 2 holes. It broke my heart because he's fought so his comeback is nuts. He has fought so hard through an injury and through swing changes, and for him to be back where it seems like he's in a good spot. But what I'm talking about in particular is Jordan Spieth hanging off a 70-foot cliff,
unreal,
hitting a golf shot, dude. I didn't see it live, but I watched a clip of it. I have never felt more anxious in my entire life watching something. Because me as a golfer, I would not be hitting that shot. His caddy said, nope, we're not doing this. He told him 3 times, we're not doing this. And Jordan Spieth just steps up there with, I think, balls of steel and says, I'm Jordan Spieth. I'm hitting this shot. And he gets up and down for par. I mean, oh my goodness, Joe. Just a shout out to Jordan Spieth.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad that you brought it up. That was insane. Jordan Spieth, unreal. I know you're a big golf guy, so I know you were watching that. That is incredible. I wouldn't have hit that ball either. Heck no. No, we're going home at that point. I'm not even finishing that round of golf.
Well, like he said, he could have taken the ball, taken a drop, but he would have gotten a 1-stroke penalty. And he was like, well, I can see the ball. I can stand beside the ball. Why would I take a drop? And I was just like, dude, I was a fan before. You were my favorite golfer. This just makes me love you that much more. You were willing to literally die for that shot.
What do you mean, why would I take a drop? You know why you should take a drop. That's
why, but it's dude, now everyone's talking about dude, the man's a legend.
100%. That was incredible. He's a stronger man than me, that's for darn sure. But you listeners are also, you're stronger than we are as well, because you made it through this entire podcast with us, and you haven't said one thing the whole time. You guys have been really quiet the whole time. So
absolutely
thank
love
you guys for listening. For Mike and for JT behind the mic, for myself, make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you guys give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. They do it on Spotify now. Make sure you do it on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate it. We love putting in the work. We love having you guys listen every week. Please share it with your friends. Don't be selfish. If you like the podcast, you got to share it with your friends. But for all of us that here at the Average Joe Football Show, we're so excited for the Super Bowl. Can't wait to talk about hopefully an incredible game. But until then, we will catch you guys on the next one.